Hello everybody, welcome to Cape Rugby TV. It's Wednesday night here on Cape Town TV, DSTV channel 263, and we talk to you what's happening with all the Western Province Club Rugby. Of course, as you know, we are going under lockdown. It is a national disaster in South Africa, and we are doing everything in our power to prevent the spread of the coronavirus. Tonight on Cape Rugby TV, we will talk to you more about the preventions that we're taking in the world of Western Province Club Rugby to help contribute to the prevention of the spread of the coronavirus. And we'll talk to you about some of the practical components that you can do at home, and of course some of the things that you might be facing over the next 21 days, certainly during the period of the lockdown. But we've taken it as a priority here at Cape Rugby TV, together with Western Province Rugby, to keep you informed and at the very least also to keep you a little bit entertained, because as a rugby fan, as a parent or child of a rugby fan, we do believe that we must still bring you a little bit of joy into your household, and that's what we will be doing. But at the same time, keeping you informed as to all of the emergency and critical health and safety protocols that you need to be following. So very important. And of course, in that mode, we're grateful to say that we still have on board with us Direct Access, your financial services partner, Score Energy Drinks, official partner to Western Province Club Rugby, and of course the Western Province Sevens, Yes Electrical down at Voortrekker Road, Intercape, your official transport providers for Western Province Rugby and the DHL Stormers, and of course Thorburn Security. Let me introduce you, before I introduce you and make contact with my panel this evening, I will be sanitizing my hands, because when we make contact with constantly, you have to make sure that you have hand sanitized at the very least and washed your hands. And we'll talk to you more about keeping social distancing. Let me introduce you to my panel this evening. Jerome Paardewater, nice to have you on board. Welcome back, meneer, under very difficult circumstances.
Yeah, JP, it's good to be back. And I think we were all sitting and waiting for the news of the president. And if I think back now, it's almost like watching a movie. When myself, my wife, and my two kids, we were sitting Sunday and watching. It's like really watching old movies about things that happened in the past, and just see what the president was saying. So yeah, it's a reality now. We know what's happening now. So yeah, it's lockdown. So we must all just be safe.
Yeah. And of course, joining me as well and demonstrating to us one of the safety methods, Faisal Felton.
Good evening, JP. It's good to be here tonight. Obviously under such circumstances and that there. But I think as Jerome says, I think we're in for some tough times. I think hopefully the reality will kick in on Thursday evening and that. But I think for the club members out there, everybody wants to know what's happening. From our side, it's good to be here and hopefully keep everybody informed.
And I see when you came in the front door, you came in with your hand sanitizer.
No, I think from my side, I'm very particular. I'm taking everything very serious.
Yes.
I think it's definitely something to be serious. Looking at the stats, looking at what's happening around the world, I think everybody out there, I think we all need to do our bit. I always say it's not about us, it's about people around us that we also need to think about and consider in that.
Yeah.
So hand sanitizer.
Jerome, you say that on 2 nights ago, sitting there with a family, I'm assuming everybody was very quiet, listening to what the president was going to say, and that's when maybe reality starts hitting home of where we are now as a globe.
Yeah, I must say it's a bit tough on my children, because university has been stopped for a week, so they've basically been in house already for a week, and now to hear this news that 21 days they're going to be inside. But it's reality, and I mean we must just all follow protocol and follow what the government say, whoever said what. It's now the time to have discipline, and so that we can beat this virus if we all discipline and we all work together.
Yeah. Speaking about that, I mean, Faisal, this is a great it's a great example now of what sport can do to contribute. Jerome mentioned one of the key components here that everybody will need to deploy, and he mentioned the word discipline. Yeah. In the world of rugby, you need a lot of discipline, and coaches often talk about discipline. Now's the opportunity to take that discipline that you do in the practice of rugby and take the concept of discipline and bring it into your house and your family.
No, definitely. I think the one thing with rugby is it's discipline. It's not also about individuals. It's about teamwork. If you want to win this thing, it's got to be a team effort. And I think that's what it's about. It's not about what everybody else is doing. The question here is what we are doing. And I think in our household, that's where it comes in. That's our bit that we are playing. And I think in order to fight this, to beat this, it's got to be a group effort. It's got to be discipline. There's got to be teamwork. And at the end of the day, hopefully we get the result that we want. And I think that is something that we all need to work towards in that.
Yeah. Jerome, of course, during this time now, it is difficult for players who have been practicing to go to your Supersport Challenge. We've heard now that the Olympics is postponed, the Paralympics is postponed. Everybody around the world who maybe from a sporting perspective have been training, ready for a fixture, ready for a competition, ready for an international, ready for a camp. All of these things are moved on now. And there's maybe a little bit of psychological adjustment that has to take place now. Have you guys started engaging with your guys to say you have to adjust your mental component?
Yeah, for me or with the Supersport Challenge was easy because it's at the moment 80% of our guys were still club guys. So because of club rugby has been cancelled last week already, so we cancel our training sessions, the Supersport training sessions last week. Only the few guys, professional players, went on in to train with Dobson in the Super Rugby team. Sorry, they were still busy from Monday till I think they're going to go on till tomorrow. They were training in groups of 5, but we sent last week already to the players programs that they can follow on their own, and I must say a lot of the guys were quite disciplined in sending in their stuff. They were either running hills at the beach or running Buskopper in Clifton. So yeah, the guys are doing their stuff, so we're fortunate to send them the programs, and they're sending in us the stuff that they were doing. But that's what we can manage up until now that we know what the way forward.
Folks, there's still quite a bit coming up on the show this evening. As I did say, we'll keep you entertained as well, but during the entertainment we'll make sure that you understand all the various emergency protocols around the prevention of the coronavirus protocols. Remember, making sure social distancing is important. I think we're going to have some serious lifestyle changes here, where certainly for the next 21 days you are going to be behind closed doors, and only essential services will be operating. Everybody that's watching this show right now, you need to understand that you have to stay at home. We will still wait to see what the authorities tell us about some of the more sort of detailed components of staying at home, such as going to the shop, which emergency facilities will be open. Are you allowed to walk your dog? Are you allowed to go for a run? Right now, the critical thing that everybody needs to understand is the absolute need for a complete social contribution. Everybody has to be shutting down and isolating absolutely as much as possible. So when you're tempted to walk out the door or go down the road or tempted to go shake hands with a neighbor, simply do not do it. We are on lockdown and we need everybody's contribution. So during the course of the show, we'll take a look at some of the highlights from previous years and shows. Of course, last year in the Paarl region, Allendale played against Riverstones. Lower Paarl played against Paarl Rangers. Those were 2 games that we thought we would bring to you, and I've got rugby experts here on the show with me, and we're going to discuss some of those games. We'll take a look at the Western Province Championship finals. Of course, you remember that in the quarterfinal playoffs, Hands and Hearts played against Strand, and Belleville played against St. George's. We'll look at 2 of those games. Lunga was up against Scottsdene. Kailsriver played against Hamlets. Durban played against Marties. So there are some big games there for us to look at and a little bit of fun. And of course, we'll look at some of the Sevens activity, and over the next few weeks, we will rewind to some of the hits and memories, so to speak, of rugby activity over the last 10 years on Cape Rugby TV. I know that I've got Jerome and Faisal and Morgan and Ishmael, everybody on standby to talk to me about some of the memories that we've had in the world of Western Province Club Rugby over the last 10 years. And we'll bring that to you to help you relive some of those moments. We'll certainly show you some of your local role models and heroes that have walked the road with us. All right, folks, we'll take an ad break, and when we come back from the break, our coverage of rugby and the activity in the world of Western Province Rugby will continue. We'll speak to you more about the prevention of the spread of the coronavirus under the lockdown period. And as I said, we'll bring you some rugby entertainment, some highlights, hits and memories, so to speak. Back after the break. Hello everybody, welcome back. It's Cape Rugby TV. We keep you informed, we keep you entertained. We're of course Cape Rugby TV doing our very best to contribute to the prevention of the spread of the virus. And I've got Jerome Parvater and Faisal Felton, both from Western Province Rugby, on board with me. And we're going to talk to you a little bit later during the course of the show what it is that you can do at home and what it is that you can do to contribute to the prevention of the spread of the disease. Of course, we're on lockdown, and we'll have a good understanding of how that rolls out over the next 2-3 days. Right, folks, as I said, we'll try and keep you a little bit informed, and we looked last year at the highlights between Allendale and Riverstones, just for a little bit of rugby entertainment for you.
This Cape Rugby TV feature is brought to you by Direct Access, your financial services partner, and Score Energy Drinks. This Cape Rugby TV feature is brought to you by Direct Access, your financial services partner, and Score Energy Drinks.
Welcome back, folks. Yes, just a reminder, it is social distancing is critical, and we are heading towards the lockdown now, and you need to be paying attention to what the authorities say. We'll try and keep you as informed as possible on this show. But those were, of course, the highlights of the Paarl Region final, Allendale and Riverstones. Faisal, Allendale and Riverstones, of course, they had an interesting season last year, but I think that their biggest challenge were, well, let's first talk about the game. Pretty close game.
Yeah, definitely. I think the results you can see is just very tight. You're putting back in my memory now again, trying to think in it. But I know, Riverstones did very well for the season that year and that day. I think, with the competition the way it is and building up to a final and that day, anybody can take it. I think if you look at Allendale, it's about, the consistency and the team taking it through. If you look at the rugby played, very tight, very close. And yeah, I mean, it's a pity what's happening currently and that. It'll be good to see the teams out in action again this year and see how they perform.
Yeah, Allendale and Riverstones, Jerome, their big challenge, well, it looks like Lower Paarl and Paarl Rangers have remained the top dogs in the Paarl region for a while now, and Allendale and Riverstones are kind of always challenging there, trying to get up.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see, JP, I don't know, I mean, Allendale, they have sort of control. There's a lot of wardens, in a lot of the prisoners play there. So maybe, I don't know if they would have a little bit of an advantage because, I mean, they see each other every day. And yeah, Riverstones or whoever now, it's a challenge for outside clubs, but I don't know, it'd be interesting, I don't know what the guys would do, like, I mean, the prison wardens will still go and work.
But if you let's go back to the game. If you just go back to the Paarl region game now, Riverstones and Allendale. I mean, they are the ones that are challenging. It seems like in the Paarl region. Assuming that we didn't have the situation now, what would be the advice that you would have given Allendale and Riverstones? And look, we're getting back to fixtures. It's going to come back. It's just not right now. But what would you be saying to Riverstones and Allendale to climb the log?
No, that's why I say earlier on, JP, I think maybe Allendale will have a bit of an advantage. So Riverstones or whoever in the Paarl region will have to find out measures and what we maybe will discuss a bit later on in the show, how to keep the guys busy and how to keep active, because you also don't want one team to get too much ahead. So you want to stay within the sort of the same distance, but it's interesting to see if the guys in the prison are still doing stuff. I don't know.
Right, folks, we of course did manage to speak some of their coaches and captains last year. Gershwin Paulse was the captain last year, and at least the coach last year. Lincoln Grain, the captain last year. And then the Allendale side, David de Kock coaching and Nathan Fredericks. Let's catch up with what they told us last year.
This Cape Rugby TV feature is brought to you by Direct Access, your financial services partner, and Score Energy Drinks.
Ja, baie goeie seisoen gewees. Bietjie gesukkel in die middel van die seisoen. Maar ek dink ons eie goals het ons bereik vir die jaar. Omdat ons die beker houers was van die knockouts. Dink ek het baie mentally gespeel op die ouens se brein, so was baie foute maak. Maar ja, by die einde van die dag het rugby geseëvier.
Was lekker harde rugby soos we wag altyd in die pere. Ons ken mekaar, so elke week teen mekaar, so ons weet nou waar die swakpunte en die sterkpunte van ander spanne is. En dan net geluk aan die wenspan. Hulle het bietjie meer harder as ons gekom en ons dissipline het ons bietjie in die steek gelaat.
En die pere is altyd hard om te speel. Die knockout kompetisie, almal wil wen. Ja, ons het nie koop weer geraak Woensdag teen Bluesie. Ja, pere. Maar vandag het ons weer goed gespeel. Ja, Riverstones is 'n goeie span. Hulle sal nooit laat lê nie. Net as ons verdediging was goed op die einde van die laaste minute. En ons aanvalle was vandag baie goed gewees. Hulle het ons opgeneek in die scrums. So daar het hulle fondasie gelê. Maar as ek sê, ons het deurgedruk met hulle verdediging. Ons het elke week 3 dae geoefen in die week. So ja, ruskans vir hulle, dan sou ek sê ons kom op vroeg Desember weer terug.
Ons wil self beloof, ons wil iets uit hierdie toernooi wil ons iets huis toe vat. Ons kon of jy die league gevat het nie. Ons self sê ons moet iets vat uit die top 8 uit en soos ons sien ons het iets uit die top 8 gevat. Ja, hierdie wedstryd was eintlik om te bou vir die toekomende jaar. Ons kan sien ons was baie jong span vandag. Maar soos ons bou vorentoe vir die nuwe league volgende jaar voor lê.
This Cape Rugby TV feature is brought to you by Direct Access, your financial services partner, and Score Energy Drinks.
Hello, everybody. Nice to have you back. Of course, coaches and captains talking to us there, Allendale coach David de Kock and their captain Nathan Fredericks, as well as Riverstones coach Gershwin Paulse and Lincoln Grain. Jerome, you've worked with David de Kock at Allendale quite a bit. Yeah, pretty good season in 2019. I remember at one stage Allendale was really firing.
Yeah, I mean, Davey is one of that coaches that's you always see him at the HPC, always with a book, always ready to learn, always asking questions. And I think he's also the national prisoners, I don't know what you call it.
Is he the defense?
Correctional services. Correctional services.
Yes.
Head coach.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's doing that. And always asking, I remember seeing him then Paul at the testing, always upskilling himself. So yeah, that's why he is where he is, and I mean he's one of the up and coming coaches that I can see as a.
Do you think, Faisal, if we just look at going on what Jerome just said, now Davey, for example, is correctional services. We have other coaches who come out of, for example, the police services, the defence force structures. Those are very organised structures, very disciplined employment structures where you get taught how to work according to guidelines and frameworks. Do you think that working like that in your personal employment capacity transfers into the rugby space?
No, definitely, JP. As Jerome says, he comes with that structure, that discipline, that idea in terms of a planning and that. And I think that is something that helps. I think from a coach's perspective, as we said earlier on, looking at last year's results and taking forward to this year as to what they're going to bring across. What they bring across is that winning the league and coming out runners up and that there, you're going to find that you're now in contention with a lot of other teams that are wanting to improve, that are wanting to beat you and that there. And I look at the teams, I look at Allendale, and you said Davey and these guys, they've got to go out there. That's where they count on. What added extra advantages are they going to put on the table? And I think that's where Jerome is coming in. He's at the HP. He's equipping himself that he can transfer over to his players and the club. Admin is important. I think it's the same as everything. It's about not just the playing of the game. It's about everybody contributing to the success of their club, not only on the field but also off the field. Yeah. And I think where Allendale and Riverstones and these guys are going to find themselves is that they've got to now go out there and keep ahead of the pack. And the other guys are going to be coming. And I think this break that we're having, that we've had now off season, it's about what you've done in the off season. Yeah. And going forward, that's what determines in terms of the success of the club and and its players.
It's going to be a very difficult time during this lockdown period, but hopefully will make your life a little bit easier. And of course, keep those rugby hits and memories flowing. We'll be back after the break. Hello everybody, welcome back. It's Cape Rugby TV. We keep you informed, we keep you entertained. We're of course Cape Rugby TV doing our very best to contribute to the prevention of the spread of the virus. As we mentioned earlier on, two of those big teams in the Paarl region, Lower Paarl and Paarl Rangers, and you will remember that last year it was started off the one way, and then of course the second game was a big derby game and it turned the other way. But we had a look here at the final where it was Lower Paarl up against Paarl Rangers. Remember this.
This Cape Rugby TV feature is brought to you by Direct Access, your financial services partner, and Score Energy Drinks. This Cape Rugby TV feature is brought to you by Direct Access, your financial services partner, and Score Energy Drinks.
Welcome back, everybody. Yes, Lower Paul, they're off taking one over Paul. Rangers walking one way with bragging rights there. Jerome, you of course went out to Lower Paul in this year and did some testing out there. Do you recognize some of your guys there?
Yeah, both these teams, when we were out in Paul, some of their players I recognized from both teams were there. And hopefully, JP, the guys still have their programs, so maybe go back to that now, because when we tested them, they were not like really up to standard where we would want them to be. So they have a base now. We were talking earlier about this is good now, but can you imagine if the clubs or the players just keep on doing that, the gym work programs that we have, the running stuff, they can all be much better this the end of this season. If we look at games again, we want to see the improvement and see no one's walking. You see that fat boys, they've lost weight, they can all run. So that's the idea of the program.
Well, the one thing I can tell you right now is that you're not going to be going out for takeaways.
No, definitely not.
Very exciting. Club rugby remains exciting, whether we're in lockdown or not. We're keeping you entertained. Remember, sanitize, keep your social distance, keep clean. We're going into lockdown. We are going to be talking about Western Province Rugby, about how you stay fit and active at home. What it is that you can do at home, whether you're an administrator, a rugby player, or a fan. We'll bring you some information to keep you comfortable at home during this period of lockdown, which is absolutely critical, because we don't want anybody tempted to go outside there and make any form of contact. So please stay tuned to Cape Rugby TV, and we'll bring you as much information as possible. Before we go into the ad break, we want to remind you, of course, that you can win yourself a case of Score. All you need to do is SMS the word SCORE to 33090. Of course, Score on board with Cape Rugby TV, and as you know, of course, Score is the official partner to Western Province Club Rugby and the Western Province Rugby Sevens. That will be coming up, hopefully, depending on future notices, later on the year, normally towards the end of the year. So just SMS the word SCORE to 33090, and you can put yourself in the mix to win a case of Score energy drinks. Congratulations to Wendy Cornelius. Wendy, you walk away with a case of Score energy drinks. And we will keep that case of Score energy drinks one side for you until we know how distribution processes work. But for now, we're in lockdown. You're the winner, but we'll only be getting to you at a later stage. We'll keep it on ice for you. Folks, we'll take an ad break. When we come back from the break, we'll continue to talk about the prevention of the spread of the coronavirus, the lockdown, and what it is that you can do at home during this difficult time. And we'll bring you some rugby entertainment, some hits and memories. Back in a sec. Welcome back, folks. Cape Rugby TV. We continue to help you where you are right now, to keep you informed, to make sure that you are staying at home and comfortable. What we do recommend, which is absolutely vital for you to be able to stay in touch, although we do know that Cape Rugby TV and Cape Town TV, which incidentally is also going to be talking to you in the afternoons through their TV shows about the prevention and the lockdown state here in South Africa. So Cape Town TV, we know, can reach you very easily at home. So we know that we can reach you via the TV channel. But for the rest of you that also want to be able to communicate, very important that you now make sure that you have the right hardware and software at home. Whether it be your mobile phone, you're able to put Facebook live streaming on. You're able to make sure that you're connected via Skype. You're maybe able to put on some of the video conferencing solutions. But important that you now, before the lockdown period, get yourself settled in and comfortable so that your communication with the outside world remains intact. We're lucky to be able to say that Cape Town TV is able to reach you on your TV channel. And you just need to stay tuned. But and we'll do our very best to make sure that we keep you informed. On the show with me is, of course, the head of high performance for Club Rugby at Western Province Rugby, Jerome Parvater, and General Manager You're going to have to remind me again, Faisal.
You keep on getting it wrong. It's Senior Manager Club Rugby.
Senior Manager Club Rugby.
Not yet General Manager.
The Senior Manager of Club Rugby at Western Province Rugby, Faisal Felden. Well, gentlemen, I must say I'm very grateful for you guys both coming out on the show. We know it's our last physical show, but that we'll keep talking. We'll keep bringing the information to the folks. Yeah, Jerome, from your side, what has sort of been the major impact? I know that over the last few weeks you've actually been telling us because you've got many international friends in Italy where it's been so hard hit. But if you bring that back to you personally, you've been in contact with people. You knew what was coming. You understood the dynamics there. But what has been interesting for you around the South African component over the last 48 hours?
If I just hear and I listen to the news, it's basically as my friends abroad were telling me. So we sort of in the same scenario now, and following the same sort of protocols. Lockdown after midnight tomorrow. Shops will be open. Keep your distance. You're gonna go maybe 10 or 20. We're gonna be allowed to be inside the shop. And all sorts of things. As I hear what my friends were saying, it's currently coming to us, and we're going to have to listen to what the law enforcement say. See, the army is going to be there, the police is going to be there. So we're just going to have to sort of listen to what people say and just do what they say. And it's going to be tough. It's not going to be easy. We're fortunate, my friends overseas, they live in apartments. So we have houses, we have open space. You can go and work in the garden. They can't do anything. And also a few of them have small children inside the house. That's also difficult to manage them, but they manage to keep busy. So we're fortunate in the sense that not all of us are in apartments. Some of us has got houses, swimming pools, open space. So we must use that now to the best that we can use it. So we're fortunate in that sense, I would say.
Yeah. Faisal, Jerome was just saying there now that we have to be able to explain to people what to do. From a Western Province Rugby point of view, of course you have all the players lined up. You know who they are, players and members of the organization. You're able to communicate with them. And you have a certain measure of influence over the space. I'm assuming that at this stage you would be advising the people that are watching the show and the players out there to follow strictly what Jerome was saying now, is follow the authorities and pay attention to the information.
No, definitely. I think in order to beat this and to get past this, we need to listen. I think that's one fortunate thing we have at rugby is rules and discipline, and I think that's where it comes into play now again, is to understand what we need to do. And I think you mentioned one critical important thing is I think we're not used to this lockdown and we're not familiar with it. I think we need to start planning for it to understand what it actually means in terms of lockdown. Yes, we've been told we can go out and we can to essential items. I think we need to take it from a perspective of complete lockdown. You can't go out. What are you going to do if it's complete lockdown? How are you going to keep your kids entertained? What are you going to be doing? So I think we also need to understand is whilst you're at lockdown, and I think a lot of people are working from home, we still need to keep that routine, I think, in terms of getting up in the morning, just to keep your sanity, not lying in bed a whole day and thinking it's a holiday for the next 21 days. The whole thing is the adjustment. It's the same as should the league start, how do we adjust in terms of what has happened? And I think that's where we need to play a role is your family under lockdown, what are you going to do in terms of getting past the next 21 days? I've said to myself, I mean, we shouldn't panic buying and that, but the bare essentials. You take it that you're not going to be able to go out for the next 21 days. How are you going to think? Not go out now and start buying recklessly. And
you're sending out a strong message to your members, to your clubs. Do not be tempted. Yep. Pay attention to what the authorities are saying, and follow the rules strictly.
JP, I think the facts speak for itself, and I think I've been doing administration. As I said, I'm an administrator, and I think the one key thing here is we work according to stats, we work according to facts, and what is happening around the rest of the world speaks for itself. Jerome has mentioned about what's happening in Italy. I think it's all stuff that we need to take back. Worst case scenario, this is what we need to do. we cannot determine what's going to happen. You know, we've got a deadline to say the end of April, but the question is what happens if it continues after then? How do we improvise? What do we do? And I know club people have been asking me from a club perspective, you know, what's going to happen to a season. Yes, we take it end of April, but we still need to take into consideration there's got to be training, there's got to be meetings, there's got to be acceptance, there's still those policies and procedures and that need to take place. So that's all the stuff that from my side I've taken note. I mean, I've improvised, I've looked at the fixtures, I've, you know, worst case scenario, if, you know, we should be able to start playing on this date, what's going to happen? If not, what's going to happen? So there's a number of key decisions that we need to make, or that we probably will be making. But the key thing here is we've got to manage it from a day-to-day perspective. As we're speaking now, numbers are rising, and the only way of doing this, everybody mentioned, is flattening the curve.
Flattening the curve,
that's
absolutely critical.
Correct.
Right, folks, we are going to keep talking here about how it is that we keep you active, how we keep you entertained, and how we keep you informed. And this is the absolute beauty of the sport sector. And you will go back to the famous words of President Nelson Mandela: sport has the ability to change a nation. And if there was a time for that to prove its merit, then now is that time that the sports sector itself can contribute to this national crisis. And that is one of the primary reasons why sport exists, is to help with the contribution to national change. So today and over the next few days and for the foreseeable future, folks, if you're we aim to reach you and use the world of sport to help rescue the scenario. We'll keep you informed. We'll try and keep you entertained as well. All right, folks, one of those entertaining games that we looked at last year was the championship final quarterfinals, at least, between Hands and Hearts and Strand. Let's take a look at this.
This Cape Rugby TV feature is brought to you by Direct Access, your financial services partner, and Score Energy Drinks. This Cape Rugby TV feature is brought to you by Direct Access, your financial services partner, and Score Energy Drinks.
Welcome back, folks. This is, of course, Cape Rugby TV. We talk to you about what's happening in the world of Western Province Club Rugby. As you know, we're in a critical situation and we have to think differently. We're in a lockdown space within the next few hours, and we will use the world of sport and the world of rugby to help you out there as we fight against the spread of the coronavirus. Very difficult times. Jerome, on your side, you obviously have players and coaches in your space that when they are not busy practicing, they are looking at, they're doing things like video analysis and admin and stats and data. These are all things that players and coaches can be practicing and doing at home now.
Yeah, just yesterday my team's physio, Wayne Hector, sent out to all the players who are currently in the squad regarding their rehab programs. It's a time now for players who have injuries to use the right rehab program, which sometimes they're forced to go back to the field and still not 100%, but now it's a time for recovery. They can do that. So they've got a rehab program, whether it's your ankle, whether you're struggling with a hamstring, whatever injury you have.
So rehab is one.
That is the first thing that he's busy now sending out to the guys.
So there's a good example. Rehab.
They can do that, and also the like I said, a lot of these guys are at clubs, at different clubs. So we want to say this to everybody, so they can even get it from whatever player. That same program, if they struggle with, it's the same, which everybody can use. And also with the fitness and conditioning. My fitness and conditioning guys regularly in contact with all the squad, and they send in the stuff that they were doing, monitoring them, and from coaching, what we're busy with now. For example, I'm almost finished with my line-out structure.
So these courses that you've got, these fitness and conditioning components, you've got it on a program, and you're able to send it to them via WhatsApp.
Yep.
And every one of the players now during the lockdown period can look at the practice and they can at home do the training.
Exactly, exactly. Right. So they can do that. And like I say now, for a coach, what I'm currently busy with, I'm changing a few of my stuff of last year, so I can send it to the guys now. So when they come in,
so
we don't have to spend time on a guy. Don't understand what is this line-out call. And
so that is something that is something that you're going to do for your coaches. Is you've got a technical document as well that you can send to your coaches.
Yeah.
So we've got three things there that we've just mentioned that can happen. There are players that are busy with rehab. They've got their videos. They know what sort of rehab to do at home. The fitness conditioning, you've got a program sending to your players. They can do that at home, and you've got a program for your coaches that they can do at home.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And the coaches then say to the players, and we send it amongst each other. Yes, is this fine? We change this play to this. Is it fine? Yeah, we all agree. Send it out to the players. They have time to go over it. Even if they have ideas, they send back to us and say, listen, maybe we can. This guy can stand here.
Okay. So if I summarize what you've said there now, you also have a feedback solution. So players at home, rehab, not only are they doing the practice at home, but they're also going to feed back to their coaches and feed back to you. Faisal, let's go to you now, just from an administrative point of view. If we look at some of the basics around club rugby administration, in a nutshell, we're running out of time here. Now is the time from the union perspective that we're going to start looking at things like constitutions, policies, admin matters, including your club-wise program.
No, definitely. I think what Jerome mentioned is he's focusing on the field. I think what we're going to be focusing is off the field. And I think one of the key elements or focus areas for us is the constitution. What we're finding the last couple of months or weeks and that is that a lot of clubs, the constitutions are outdated, or a lot of it, the constitution doesn't talk. The only time we engage with the clubs is when there's problems and issues and we refer back to the constitution. So one of the key areas that we're going to focus on now is the time to start looking at is your constitution. And I think, from Denzel's side, he's going to be engaging with the clubs, trying to make sure that the stuff stuff is uploaded on Scrummit. I think that is key and that's important. So we're going to start putting deadlines in place that these guys start working on the constitution.
Yeah.
The next element that we also want to look at is to make sure that financials are up to date. Financials are also uploaded on the system, and then we're looking at your AGMs, make sure that the meetings have been that have been conducted and that. I think one of the key things is that within the club, there's certain elements that need to be in place to run a club. Your constitutions, your finances, your AGMs, and obviously your members and that. And I think from the union side, this gives us now time to focus on that. I think in the past the focus has been on club rugby. Once it starts, it's just about fixtures, logs, results, and challenges and problems that you have during the season. I think now the key area is planning, and I think every club, like Jerome says, we can adapt to what he's doing and implementing with the Supersport team, is that from a coaching perspective with the clubs, you can now focus in terms of your players. The administrators focus on your executive.
Okay.
Start looking at your job descriptions and delegating in terms of functions and roles for those positions.
Right. So again, to summarize where we're at, Jerome has got a team of people around him looking at rehab. That's going to be going out to players that are injured that have to do rehabilitation. There'll be feedback sessions on that. You've also got, Jerome, your fitness and conditioning programs that you're sending to your players, and those coaches that you're getting to send to them are going to be giving feedback on that space. And then you mentioned your more of an admin space for your coaches.
Yeah.
Am I right?
Yep.
Okay.
Exactly.
That will be go to them, and they'll be giving you feedback as well.
Yeah.
And so you sitting on your side as the commander-in-chief will be monitoring and checking and evaluating that everything's working in place.
Yeah, hopefully
Okay.
what we can also do, Faisal, send it to you guys, and you can send it to the various clubs and listen. There's an idea on.
Yeah.
Yep.
I
And then
think-
Faisal, on your side, again, to summarize, and I'm sure that over the next few weeks we're going to come up with more things and we'll formalize it. But on your side, you're talking about things like constitutions.
Yeah.
How does a club operate? What are the kind of things that they need to do? Maybe some event management stuff. We've spoken in the media and marketing stuff about all the components there, about what we should be doing as a club, so we can build the club into a space where it's an appealing to local business to sponsor the club.
Yeah.
And there we spoke about things like Facebook pages, creating content of the club, making sure your database is up to date. Do you have all the emails and cell phone numbers of your members? So there certainly is a lot that we can do here and come out with something very positive.
I think one of the key things for us, all the elements that we mentioned, JP, is all planning and preparation for the season. But one of the key things that we're looking at trying to do is the application to the Lotto for funding. As you know, the Lotto applications start opening up on the 1st of April.
Yeah.
I think you've got time now to start putting stuff in place. Those clubs that can apply should apply. I think from a union side, we're saying we're all struggling, we're all looking at finances difficulties. One of the areas where there is funding for those clubs that would like to apply is through the Lotto. And one of the key things there is you need your constitution, financials, all of that needs to be in place. So I think this is a time where we need to now start reflecting and trying to see how we can survive through this period.
Yep.
And definitely one of the areas is looking at the Lotto in terms of funding and support.
Right, folks, well, you heard it all there. A lot of administrative things we can concentrate on now. And of course, to make sure that all that ties together, you need to make sure that your communication at home is set up now. Your Wi-Fi, your mobile data, whatever it is that you need to make sure that you have connectivity. Try, if you can, if you have a computer at home, if you've got a computer at work, pack the computer up, take it home, put it on your desk. If you've got a laptop, great. If you've got a webcam, plug it in. Most laptops have got a little webcam attached to it. If not that, then look at your cell phone or look at your mobile phone, because you're going to be needing to stay in contact either via WhatsApp, email. Popular now is the Zoom conferencing facility, Skype chats. There's a number of different components in terms of the communication that will be rolling out that you will be able to, that'll help you stay in touch with the Western Province Rugby Football Union and the administrators there. Jerome, thank you very much. We will certainly be in touch with you now when our show changes slightly, where the next time we see each other will be over a computer screen.
Yeah, JP, we never know what's gonna happen. So yeah, we just have to do what's in our control.
Yeah.
And we never know. So hopefully, maybe we'll be back next week. Maybe not. we never know. We can't
We'll be
tell.
back
Only,
next week. We'll
only
just be-
time will tell.
We'll just be back
By-
over 2 screens. Yeah. And Faisal, thank you very much for joining us as well. I think you've been a world of information, both of you. Appreciate it. And
No, definitely. Thanks,
starts.
JP. And I was like, everybody out there, stay safe. And I think like Jerome says, let's all do our little bit. And let's see what happens. Thanks.
Right, folks. Remember, stay safe out there. Make sure you do not get tempted to do anything that the authorities are asking you not to do. Make sure that you follow all of those emergency protocols during this time. We'll keep you informed, and we wish you the very best of luck out there. Remember, Cape Town TV are broadcasting information around the COVID-19 virus. Stay tuned to Cape Town TV for as much information in the afternoons as possible. We'll see you again online shortly. Remember, our Facebook page is, of course, information sharing as well. And we wish you the very best of luck out there. We'll see you again next week, same time, same place. Bye-bye.